Good morning and welcome to your weekly podcast with the coaching crew. I'm Hazel, the consistency coach, and with me is...
Samantha, and I'm the Cortex coach. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So today, Hazel, I
Yeah.
thought, why don't we talk about procrastination? Sort of turning pending into prosperous, turning those delays into decisive actions.
Which is really fitting because we were supposed to do this podcast on Friday and it is now Sunday.
We were, but in our defence, Hazel, it was technical and not us putting it off.
This is true.
But really, have you ever found yourself putting something off? Convincing yourself that the future you will handle it. I'm sure we've all been there. I certainly have. Is it just about putting things off? What it's about? If it isn't just about laziness, what if it's rooted, into something deeper? Whether it's fear, doubt, or even perfectionism. There's a multitude of areas that could cause the procrastination. So I thought in today's episode, let's dive into the psychological triggers behind procrastination, why engagement matters, because it really does, from my perspective, and how to shift that hesitation into action. Plus, if people stick around, towards the end, we'll have our productivity punch recipe, which is a simple strategic boost to get you going. So
Great.
let's turn our procrastination, Hazel, into power.
Well, first
at
a time. Well, first of all, most people think it's just themselves. But I read a quote the other day and it says it's a universal sport that we're all intentionally experts on, because everybody thinks it's just me. Why am I lazy? Why do I procrastinate? And it turns out most people do. But the interesting thing is, it's not for the reasons we think, like you mentioned. It's not just laziness. So we've got an interesting discussion on this coming up.
Yeah, definitely. And we're the cocktail crew, and I see procrastination as it's like stirring a cocktail but never pouring it.
Yeah.
You've got all the ingredients, but you're stuck at the bar. You're not turning around and drinking it, doing what you need to do.
Don't procrastinate there, but
why does focus matter? I think for me, procrastination often arises because our attention isn't focused. It's scattered or it's hijacked by different distractions. And I think we need to channel our energies into the task at hand. Maybe make it less intimidating and easier.
I think if you realise it's actually it's caused by a battle in your own mind. You've got your rational battle that says, right, I've got this deadline.
Yeah.
I need to go and get it done. And your emotional side that says, oh God, but I don't know how to do it. I don't want to do it. And you'll end up binge watching television or organising your spice racks, anything, just to avoid getting to sit down and do the work needed. So I think understanding that's why it happens it made me feel a bit better when I realised it wasn't laziness with me a lot of the time. It was fear of getting something done.
I think you're right, and it can feel really isolating as well.
Yeah.
It's for me. I've got an example in my work environment. With what I do, I've got a list, and I'm very big on lists. I write a lot of lists, and I like to tick them off. I'm quite organised that way. But I know there's something that I have to do on my list, and maybe it's not the most exciting thing to do. It's not the most fun, or it's going to take a little bit more thought process. So I'll do everything around it. Now, that's a quick fix. That's easy. I can get that done. And I tend to leave the big one till the end because
that's interesting. That's interesting. Because have you heard the concept "eat that frog"?
No.
Have you not? Right. Oh, I can't remember the lady's name. It came out years and years ago, and she said, "Start every day as if the biggest task you had to do, or you've got all your tasks, right? And on that task was eat that frog." And what she meant by it was, if you had to think that all day you were going to have to eat, and sorry to anybody, it's just the name of a book, it's not a real thing to do. if that's on your list, that's going to keep gnawing away at your head, going, I need to eat that frog. I don't want to do that. So the whole point of it is it might not be the biggest necessarily, but the worst thing you've got to do every day and get that, or the hardest, or the one you dislike the most, and get that done straight away, then that's out the way. And then the rest of your day, you can plod through your little tasks. I'm like you with the list. But yeah, it's an interesting book if anyone wants to read it. Eat That Frog.
Wow,
And
I'll have a look at that.
yeah, really good. So it's like you're saying, you leave the biggest one till the end and that, and you try and get that to the top of your list so that at least you make a start on it. So it's not in your head all day.
That's really true, because certainly with our coaching, we're trying to establish ourselves as coaches, and the one thing I'm procrastinating on is the marketing. It's the for me it's the hardest one to sell yourself. So
I think that's more about us not knowing anything about it than procrastinating.
could be.
Um,
But I suppose repeated avoidance of dealing with a situation or an issue, that can lead to some ingrained patterns.
oh yeah,
Putting off until tomorrow becomes a mental default. I'll do that tomorrow. It's fine. I don't have to do that till a week on Tuesday, so I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes, does it?
no,
And
and don't you find you can't? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm too eager. I guess that low motivation, or maybe the lack of energy to do that task
Yeah.
makes then that task even harder to do.
Yeah, and again though, if it's a difficult task like the marketing one, but say it's somebody with an essay they don't want to do, say your daughter didn't know where to start with, even if you simply jot down a few notes, you consider it started rather than putting it in it. Because at night, do you not find if you're worried you haven't done this is coming up, it keeps you awake. So putting it off, actually, it's great at the time because you're not doing it, but the long-term consequences of this gnawing at you and being on your mind all the time aren't healthy. So even just putting a few notes in, right, I'll ask this person, what do I do here? How can I start this? Just makes you feel as if you've got into it. So
Yeah,
it's
breaking down the bigger picture, isn't it?
into tiny bits. And
Yeah.
it's not, then you see, it's not laziness. You're not doing it because you're not lazy. You're either afraid of what it's going to turn out like at the end. I have that. Or you just don't know what to do.
Not knowing where to begin. That's
Yeah.
exactly into it's that ambiguity of the situation.
Mm.
But like you said, putting those clear steps and guides and goals into
Mm.
into the process will help to combat it. Um,
Can
and
I
like
ask you something, Sam, about procrastination
yeah,
yourself?
okay,
Say it's housework.
yes,
Do you procrastinate on any of that, or do you just get it done? I can imagine you just get it done.
housework can just get done.
Right.
It says a lot about me.
Have you ever, though? I was thinking about this the other day when I was about to hoover, and I thought, I can't get this one working anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I spent about 2 hours looking at hoovers on the internet. I didn't get one, but that was my way of saying,
Save you hoovering up. Okay, no, I tend not to. What do I tend to procrastinate? Um,
to be fair, you're a bit of a machine, so you don't really, you're quite good. I think your job as well makes you that way, that you have to be on top of everything because information can be asked of you really quickly. And you said to me once that you write everything down or do the task as it happens because you don't want to forget anything. You can't afford to, and so you're not too bad at it. You've kind of, that's
no,
become a habit.
no, I tend not to. It's just the little things that I think might be a little bit more difficult to do and take a little bit longer. It's like, or it's something that isn't the most exciting to do. That's what I'll tend to procrastinate. Certainly in work, like I said, if there's a
Yeah.
task which takes a little bit more thought process and a little bit of research, it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Do it next, and I'll do something else. And I suppose with me with lists as well, like I said, I like lists. If I do that big major task, that might take me most of the day. I've not ticked off anything on my list.
Do you remember making timetables at school?
Yeah.
This is the art of procrastination, or procrastination making art. Because I used to have my beautiful revision timetables, especially when you were studying for your A-levels. And I could spend hours and I'd have this beautiful timetable with glitters and stickers telling me everything I was going to revise. And that 2 hours, I could have just said, right, I'll revise that. And then when I was doing my revision, I'd have to get all my pens out again, underline everything double. And so you don't think that's procrastinating, but you are.
It really is.
It really is.
And it's avoiding those tasks, isn't it? And that's what I do on occasion in work. And it's provides that temporary relief from stress, because you know that task is going to be a little bit more stressful than a standard task.
Yeah.
So that increases your anxiety, um, which increases long term if you keep putting it off, because that deadline's going to get closer. So your anxiety's going up, your stress levels are going up. So yeah,
Also, I
it's
suppose
avoiding that.
people with high perfectionism have it because it's a fear of failure, like I mentioned before, and they keep thinking that I'll be doing this before that and this will make it right. But ultimately, it comes to the same thing. You're just delaying it. It's a defense mechanism to allow you to delay something.
Yeah, I think my daughter's like that. I think she's
Oh,
quite a
is she?
perfectionist in certain ways. She'll, you know, she's gone into class, and because she doesn't like how it looks, she keeps rubbing it out, rubbing it out, rubbing it out,
Yeah.
to the point where she's not got a lot down. So it doesn't matter how it looks, just
Yeah.
do it. Certainly when she's drawing, she's, you know, she keeps rubbing it out and rubbing it out. She's probably got a little bit better now, but yeah.
Mm.
So even she, but then we, like we said on our last podcast, you know, it's hereditary, isn't it? My procrastination
Yeah.
is probably feeding off,
Yeah.
passed down to her. So, of course she's going to
Actually,
be doing the same.
that's a good point because it's not just hereditary now. You've got this distraction prone environment as well, where everything, you can be doing something for work and then you get an email and what we're guilty of, we'd rather look at that email and respond to that, therefore doing somebody else's work rather than doing our own, because we've got distractions all the time. The phone's ringing, text, email.
Yeah.
Everybody can get in contact with you now and they'll say, I need this done. So you go, right, I don't like what I'm doing, so I'll do your work
Yeah.
rather than me sitting and doing mine. I think
Even
that's
if you
got a
haven't
big
got your
influence.
emails, sorry, even if you haven't got your emails up, it flashes up, doesn't it, on the corner of the screen? It's like, oh, I'm just going to see what that is.
Yeah, you can't help it. We've got to get stronger.
Yeah, finish your task in hand and then look at your emails, because you do then get so sidetracked.
Yeah. I think that must be really hard for kids today as well now to focus on anything or.
Yeah. Do you think it's a defense mechanism, procrastination? So if you avoid starting something, you avoid the risk of failing.
Yeah, I fully think it's a defence. Because I always think anyway, I'm not speaking for everybody, that if I leave it, I might find something else, or I'll go and do this and then maybe I'll get a better idea because I'm wanting to have the perfect answer, which isn't there. And who said it?
Yeah.
Not just do it, not Nike, just start.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be progressive. No, don't wait for perfectionism, just progress. Something like that. You might get what I'm saying. Can't remember who it was.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, I think it was Mel Robbins, actually.
Oh, was it Mel? Oh.
Yes, it was Mel. It is, sorry, I'm reading, it's progress, not perfection. That's what she says about it. I had to look at my notes, sorry. And thank you, Mel.
Yeah, I'm reading her book at the minute.
We love you, Mel. Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, that's great.
And I suppose overwhelm as well. When it's like I said, if I'm at work and it's a big complex task, I tend to put it off. So and that creates a mental barrier that leads to avoidance.
Yeah.
Um, and you've mentioned perfectionism. Like us, we're doing this podcast now. That can feel really daunting. But
That is hugely daunting.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe focusing on a single segment will help reduce that and help us get through the next part. But also
Not get through, enjoy.
the fear of judgment as well.
That's what we talked about last week. And yeah, that's if you've got, say, something you want to talk to your boss about, how many times have you ever thought, I'll do it tomorrow? And it's not laziness again. It might be fear of her judging you, or it might just be, I'm afraid what will happen when.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest, because I always look to what will happen when I do this or if I do this. And I've got to stop it, and I'm trying to. But it's because once you've done that sort of task and it's out the way, you're back to being, wasn't as bad as I thought.
Exactly, and generally it's that's usually the case, isn't it? It's not as bad as you thought it would be.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
our brains as well. The human brain craves immediate rewards, doesn't it?
It
It's
does.
like going to the gym. If I go to the gym, I'll get fitter, but that's not an instant reward.
No,
That's
the
got a
long
time
term.
delay on it.
Yeah.
Delayed benefit, so it's less appealing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely, like you just mentioned, Mel Robbins. I said I'm reading her Let Them theory at the minute, and there's a fantastic reference in there about tackling fear of judgment.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Mel's approach encourages to shift our focus from worrying about others' opinions to prioritizing our own authenticity and values.
Exactly.
And the concept of letting them helps to diffuse the power and
But
that
they have.
external judgment.
Yeah.
And we can't control what other people think about us. But their thoughts are shaped by their own narratives, and
Yeah.
certainly that is really. I'm really
Apologies.
mindful of that when talking about
Yeah.
procrastination, because it's I think it's really key. So yeah,
Still,
it's a great book. Recommend anyone goes and
absolutely. And her podcast. They're fantastic.
yeah.
So what if we talked about some practical tools and tips that we can give people who would like some help with this? Because it's a difficult area to if you're prone to it, it's a difficult thing to overcome. And the more tips, the better. So what you got for us, Sam?
I think the first thing is design your own space. So create that environment which is free from distractions. So whether that's decluttering your workspace, I'm always doing that. I like a nice tidy work desk. I've shown you my drawers and everything's really neat in there. Silencing notifications, we've mentioned
Yeah.
emails. So certainly that's the key. Time blocking as well. If you if you've got a big task, divide that into small manageable chunks. So set yourself maybe 25 minutes to do a task, and then at the end of that task, see where you're at.
One thing I did with a student, sorry, on that, what you've just said about the task, might help if it, yeah,
sorry.
I used to, because one of the boys I was teaching, he couldn't focus for longer than 2 minutes. So I got a set of egg timers, the coloured sand, went up from 2 to 5, and you had to sit and do something until that, and then there was a little reward. But it just over time built up. So you do, with him, because he was young, yeah, literally a 2-minute egg timer. Of whatever, 3, I can't remember, then 5, then 10. But if you do that as an adult and think about it in a different way, do something during the adverts is always a brilliant one. When you're watching Coronation Street and the adverts come on, go then and get the washing out and start folding it. And things like that. But like you say, blocking out bits of time, however you do it, is a brilliant way.
Yeah. So
Makes
like that's great for the 2-minute rule. So if you do the 2 minutes rule, then have a 2-minute break. Or if you're setting yourself 25 minutes, have a 5-minute break at the end of that, knowing there's a structured pause coming, so you can keep focused. So that's one thing. Small wins strategy. So pick the easiest task or the most minor part of the project you're dealing with, you're starting with.
Yeah.
And by completing that, it'll give you a sense of accomplishment and pave the way for tackling bigger challenges. So that'll help you keep moving forwards.
And I like the bit, I don't know if it's from Mel or if I read it or you said it, Sam, that they said if there's a task that needs doing that will take under 2 minutes, just do it. Even before you eat the frog, I suppose. if it can be done that quickly and ticked off your list. Get it done, and then that's something else out the way.
Yeah, yeah. Remove the starting block as well. If there's something that's stopping you from starting that task, maybe it's not having a tool or a specific resource. Resolve that first. And I think quite often the biggest obstacle or blocker is getting everything ready, being
Yeah,
prepared.
it is. And I think with you mentioning your tasks at work and children as well, especially children probably, when they have a big thing to do, if they haven't got the research done and the information on that's why they can't do it. So it's like you say, having broken back all the little steps when they come to do it, if they're not using chat GBT for the recipe, they've got all the research, they've got all the information on the desk beside them, and it's much easier to tackle. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And as you start completing tasks, it'll have a snowball effect. So
Mm.
celebrate that progress. Let yourself feel the reward of progress.
Yeah.
Use that positive energy of when you're completing a task to motivate you to start and complete the next step. So as that momentum builds,
Mm-hmm.
you then see the outcomes of your efforts, which is it's really rewarding.
Sorry,
And
got a bit of a
don't
cold.
forget you have those dopamine boosters as well.
Oh
You
yes.
know, make your tasks more engaging. Give yourself a more engaging reward to, after you've completed that each milestone. Could be
Yeah.
something really silly like, when I've done this, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Or I'm going to.
Or when I've been to the gym, I'll go to McDonald's.
Good. Or when I've been to the gym, I'm going to have a quick celebratory dance. I don't dance, so that I would have to give myself that one. But no, it's really, yeah,
Yeah,
really,
finding what works.
yeah, what works for you, really. Um, you know, Mindful focus, incorporate mindful techniques potentially, before you start a task,
Yeah.
quick breathing exercise, really simple one. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 4 seconds can really help you anchor your mind and ease you into that flow to start that task.
I like what you said about your environment though, Sam, and I haven't talked to you about this, but I do a lot of work from home at the minute and online, and I totally opened and separated a room off for me now where everything in there is to do with work.
Okay.
And my phone and everything is outside in the hall because there's nothing at the minute that's urgent that's going. But I only give myself, say, 20 to 25 minutes or longer if I can. I'm not going to stop if I'm really, but it's great because that way when I'm in there, if I'm not in a school or in the office, I've got my area, which means my head goes into this is what has to be done. But when I come out, then I'll go and watch Judge Judy or do my ironing or something, but it's a completely separate area. So it gives me the ability to focus much better. So I like that one as well.
And that really does work. I'm hybrid, so I work from home part of the week as well. And I've moved into the spare room now, purely because like you, it's that work area. When I
Yeah.
leave this room, I'm not at work. I think during COVID, I situated myself at the dining room table. That wasn't a good move. I was too close
No.
with the fridge for one reason. I was like, no, I can't keep this relationship going with the fridge. So then I moved upstairs. I think, like everybody else, COVID was not good for my weight. But no, it's really key. But it does help keep your focus being in a specific area.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. And what else have we got? I
I
think,
think. Do you think we should? Do you think we should go through our productivity punch?
I think so.
Possibly. I think
Yes,
it would be great to do that, wouldn't it?
it would.
So shall I make a start or shall you?
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, so this is our productivity punch. We are the cocktail crew. We've got some key ingredients that will really help focus you with procrastination. So first ingredients, 2 ounces of preparation juice. So really take a moment to organise your tasks, set your priorities, and be ready to start.
Okay, and then your next ingredient is an ounce of focus syrup, and that's just what we've been talking about. Have your area, eliminate distractions, tell your friends or your family, I'm not going to be available between these times. So just make sure you've got time to yourself to focus.
Yep. Add in a splash of momentum mixer. So start
Ooh.
small, but let that progress snowball to keep you motivated.
Add a dash of celebration zest, and that's like you were saying, your rewards.
Yeah.
Rewards, savor your wins.
Yep, and finally garnish with accountability ice cubes. So share your goals with someone who will keep you on track. Hazel, I do that with you. Say, I'm going to do this, Hazel. Hold me to account.
We do
You know,
actually. We do that together, yeah.
definitely. It's really key, and it helps. It certainly helps motivate me to do what I said I'm going to do. So really important. So there's your productivity punch. Really helps me focus, and I hope it'll help you guys focus as well.
And we will get a way of getting these to you. We're just
Yeah,
working on the
we'll
technical
figure that
side of
one out.
them.
Yeah.
We're not procrastinating, I swear. It's technical.
Or are we?
Who knows? Maybe it's the fear.
We
Anyway.
could be. It could be. So, but every day is just an opportunity to prepare for your own breakthrough, and it's about taking small steps to create unstoppable momentum tomorrow. So start where you are, and let that progress, not perfection, let that progress lead the way going forward. And,
Yeah.
and I think it's important, Hazel, don't you agree, to be mindful. Procrastination isn't failure. It's just a fear of where it's just a fear wearing a different disguise. But action, however small it starts off, is the antidote, really.
Yeah. And just realizing everybody has it at some stage, and understanding it is a really big help in getting you to come out of it a little bit. So,
Yeah.
well, and hope.
Remind yourself of the why behind the task. How does completing it connect to your bigger goals or your values? And imagine how good you feel when you've done it. And that's really true. The relief and the sense of
Yeah.
pride when you've completed a task that you didn't
Huge
particularly
weight.
want to do and you're putting off.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you for those, Sam. So that's been really interesting, and actually doing the research up to it has changed how I view it. So I hope this does help somebody else who might have these issues. And for next week, we are doing one of Sam's favourite phrases. Couldn't get that out there. What is it?
Really. The imposter syndrome, and I've got lots to say about the imposter syndrome. It drives you mad, doesn't it?
Different view, that's all. But do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start it right now. As soon as I put the lid down, I'm going to start my research and get it done after a cup of tea and things like that.
Well, thanks, guys. Obviously, we are coaches in our own right. So Hazel's the consistency coach, and I'm the Cortex coach. Our contact details are below my website below me, and Hazel's got her
Yeah.
website details as well.
Okay then. Well, we'll leave you to it, everybody, and thanks for joining us. Until next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.